Action.
Hi, I'm Nick Riccioni, President and CEO of DNE, S.E.A.L, which distributes the S.E.A.L external fixation devices. Today, I want to go over quickly the S.E.A.L speed frame, its advantages that it has over what's currently being used, and the simplicity of it. This piece you see sitting right here is the speed frame. It comes like this, assembled, as thin as a magazine. If it's peel packed in the OR or in the ER, it merely needs to be pulled out of the peel pack. The surgeon or assistant could just open it up on the table like this. It'll drop down. It's ready to be put on. If you want to put it on like this, well, it still has the ability to rotate, angulate, and do everything. You can. You can pin the first fragment with this ring on, then pin the second fragment, and then you have the ability to angulate, rotate, compress, distract, and rotate the fragment anywhere to reduce it. So the rings can compress totally onto each other, and they'll distract end to end. You also have the ability to add on to this to make these longer. We have these little threaded rods. These are the speed frame rails. You merely have to thread in the threaded rod and any length spacer, and you can grow these rails as long as you want, and you can keep adding. You can add another rail on it if you want the ability to compress and distract in certain areas. So that's the immediate quick advantage that you have, the ability of this to be pre-assembled. So there is no, a fracture comes in, you're like, all right, I got to assemble a circular frame. You do not, because this is going to be coming all together and wrapped up to you, where you just have to fold it out and put it on. I'm going to go over a couple quick advantages over this. This would compete with the pins and bar systems. Now, I'm on LinkedIn and other places talking about pins and bars, and one of the things we say is, hey, pins and bars, the 80s called, they want their equipment back. Pins and bars is prehistoric compared to this. Pins and bars is one-dimensional. You're putting your bars and your clamps, connecting, throwing your pins. You can't do much to angulate, rotate, compress, distract, unless you're pulling the pins or the clamps by hand. Why wouldn't anyone want the ability to pin this into a fracture? Okay? You can have a fracture that's insanely gross and still pin one side in, pin the other side, and then they have the ability, while the patient's on the table, to just grab this one side, pull it, angulate, rotate, and put it right back and reduce the fracture perfectly. And then all you're doing is tightening these 4 clamps. Now, if after you tighten the 4 clamps and your fracture is a little bit displaced, maybe you're up here, all you have to do at that point is compress and move these either counterclockwise or clockwise to bring everything back to where you want it. So you have the ability to fine-tune the fracture. After you reduce it, put it back where you want it, lock it in to pretty much where you think it's perfect, lock the 4 clamps, and then adjust it by fine-tuning. Maybe you need to pull this in a little bit. Maybe you need to distract the other side just to get it perfectly where you want it. Now, after that's all done, you also have the ability to add a ring above, or you can add a ring below, which is another advantage. What you also can do is anywhere along these rails, you can throw our pin collets and throw any size pin you want at any angle to grab fragments, to have more purchase in the bone so it's stronger, however you want to do it. You can also put the rings where, if you're going around the foot and ankle and you want it open anteriorly, and the top ring you want open posteriorly, you can also rotate it where you can have this ring flip the other way, so they're both open posteriorly. So you can flip the rings around, and you can put a full ring. Some guys have an anterior tibial ring up here connected to a foot plate distally, so you can interchange rings between this. So the ability to be able to have a fracture that you can rotate, angulate, do whatever you want to then lock it in. This is a fracture. lock it in strong, and then if you want to do anything else with, add a foot plate, maybe you want to distract the ankle, do something else. No one has that. Pins and bars cannot do what this thing can do, the speed frame. This is the most advanced system right now. Pins and bars has been, pumped in everyone's head for a million years. That's what everyone uses. That's been the gold standard. Anymore, since the speed frame came along, this has no competition. This blows it out of the water. All you have to do is try it, see how easy it is. We got guys, consultants that are putting this on in like 15 minutes. So, pre-assembled, slide it on, throw 2 pins or a wire, a couple wires, a pin. The other fragment, throw your wires and pins, rotate, angulate, reduce the fracture, lock it in, pretty much done. And this can be a final fix on the patient. If you want to add a ring or 2 up above or below, you can do that. But you're not just like pins and bars, you're getting a fracture into the ER, you're kind of angulating it, put it in roundabout space. You're not even reducing it most of the time, just having it look okay for another day to come in a couple weeks later, a couple days later, throw an IM rod to permanently fixate your fracture. This, you can reduce the fracture, lock it in, and leave it on. There's no need to go in and do something else with it. So that pretty much sums up the speed frame. We have another one here with the pylon fracture where this is fragmented everywhere into the joint. Speed frame. On this one, we used olive wires to grab fragments, pull them together, and a couple wires approximately. You also could have went down, connected the foot plate, did whatever you wanted to this also. So a couple of different ways it can be used. The pins and bar system, like I said, that's been used for years and years and years, but nothing's come along like this. This pretty much gives the surgeon so many more advantages. And the old story of circular frame, just the time to have to assemble it, put it together, and by that time you could have the pins and bars on already. Well, now here we kind of turn the tables. Now we have a circular frame that's already assembled. You have to do nothing to it, and you're still going to have to put those pins and bars together. So now that's the long way to do things. And that's pretty much it. S.E.A.L speed frame.